is to be a life and parenting resource for moms, parents, and caregivers. Yeti believes it takes an e-village to raise a child in the 21st century. She is the convener of the Lagos Moms Parenting Conference, which is an annual gathering for thousands of parents and experts discussing pertinent topics relating to parenting and family matters. Yeti is a certified family life coach, neuro-linguistic programming practitioner, trained in online safety and child safeguarding and child safeguarding, and she is a cognitive behavioral therapist. Lagos Moms has grown organically online and is active on social media across Facebook, Twitter, Instagram with over 100,000 followers. The brand has worked with several local and international brands. As a digital CEO, Yeti is the lead consultant at Slay with DIgitALL, where she consults in digital transformation and strategic digital media marketing planning for business owners and companies. Some of our clients include P&G, Kimberly-Clark, Nivea, Google, several SMEs, and schools. She serves on the boards, including the Bethesda Child Support Agency and Afrotech Girls. Yeti has won several awards over the years. Some of this includes being announced as the winner in the social media, online media category in the Exquisite Lady of the Year 2015 award, and being recognized as a conversation starter in the Y Niger 100 media list. And he's listed on the Eco Women 100 list, recognition by the Lagos State government. And before we started this meeting, I also saw that she was mentioned in one of the awards that was given out today. So ladies and gentlemen, I have Yeti Williams. If you listen very well to the introduction, you know that Yeti Williams is already in the digital world, which is one of the things we are discussing this evening. Yeti, good evening. Nice to have you on the show. Happy International Women's Day to you.
Good evening, Ebon. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me today. And happy International Women's Day.
Thank you very much. So without wasting much time, we'll just go into the conversation for today. Yeti, the theme for this year is digital, innovation, and technology for gender equality. What does that mean to you?
Yes, thank you. Good evening to everybody. I'm glad to be in the house again. I'm part of the, this is home. I'm part of the community, so I'm always excited to, give me a second. Something going on here, hang on. Just want to drop that.
Thank you very much for always choosing to join us.
No problem, happy to be here. So to answer your question, you know, what does it mean to me, you know, gender? First of all, I want to step back, and I realized that when we were kicking off, you mentioned that you were talking to somebody and you said we are not feminists, right? And I think that is a word that's very misunderstood.
Yeah.
And many times people are on different sides of the camp because they don't fully understand what it means. And I pulled up, while you were talking, I went and I pulled up a particular definition about it. And one of the things I saw that I really liked said that quite simply, feminism is all about genders having equal rights and opportunities. It's about respecting diverse women's experiences, identities, knowledge, strengths, and striving to empower all women to realize their full rights. You know, so feminism is not about bashing any sex or bashing any gender or talking about hating men or anything. Absolutely not. It's just about the idea of equity, you know. So I think sometimes we can get caught up as human beings about what's equity. Are you saying we are the same? Are you saying what a man can do, a woman can do? Are you saying there's not the weaker sex? We can get into a lot of those things that are not very helpful. And as people who are certified coaches and family therapists, we know that when some people lead with those kind of conversations, sometimes it's sometimes based on your conditioning and whether or not you see it as a threat or not, that somebody is saying that even though I am a woman, that doesn't make me any less. That doesn't mean I'm not capable. That doesn't mean that I cannot do the same work, for example, as a man in an office and earn the same thing. So when we move that into the digital space and the digital world, what's really happening is that we are in the fourth industrial revolution, right? We're in the digital age, we're in the tech age, and that means that things are moving much faster than ever before. So if we still have people on this divide who feel that maybe technology belongs to men or technology is more a techie thing for males versus females, we're going to continue to have this divide getting deeper and wider and wider. And for me, that's one area that I'm really keen about, is that we remove the gender behind technology. Technology doesn't have a gender. Digital doesn't have a gender. It responds to the person or the set of people that know how to use it to optimize their lives and to use technology for good. So I'm that's where I sit on. I love all things tech. I've built my business on technology, and I know that there's a huge opportunity there. Now, we very quickly moved from tech into a whole new space, right? When we talk about ChatGPT, which a lot of people have probably heard about now. Things are moving so fast, and there are some people who are still saying they don't like technology. They don't like digital. But the world is moving in a direction where the fear I have is that a lot of people are going to be so left behind that they might not even be able to catch up when it comes to getting comfortable with being digitally literate. So that's a long-winded answer, but to answer your question, what it means to me is that we have to embrace the age that we live in. We are in the digital age. It's not good or bad. It is good and bad based on how you use the tools that are there for us to use. And it's very important that we start to move in that direction so that as women, as Africans, we don't get left behind when it comes to the digital space.
Thank you very much. That's the summary, and that is just what that theme is talking about, that the world is moving in a particular direction, and that is the direction of technology, and we should also move in that direction. We should not be left behind. So Yeti, when you were talking, I was just thinking about it. Why is it that it is the female that does not move when things are moving? What do you think is the reason? And so we now have to start coming out to say, let's move in this direction. Ladies, where are you? Do we have to do all that? Why is it that women don't want to move in that direction?
I think it's conditioning. It's the same way that when you look at the typical STEM, right? STEM industry and jobs around that, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, STEM. We all know that even up to today, it's still a big, it's still an area where a lot of energy is being put in to say, how do we get more women represented in STEM? We've gone very far, that's for sure. And the T under STEM stands for technology. So we're still moving in that direction. And a lot of it is conditioning. A lot of it is the fact that women, some of the things that women are doing today, it's only how old? 50, 60 years old. There was a particular lady, I think she was in the legal, I forget her name now, it's run out of my head. But when she passed away last year in the US, and they said when she became a lawyer, this was about 60 years ago in the US, women weren't even allowed to have their own credit cards. Women couldn't vote. So let's realize that as women folk as well, a lot of the things that seem to be things that we've been doing forever have only just started 50, 60, not up to 100 years ago. So that's part of why I feel that women are catching up. It's a bit slow, but we are getting there. And one of the things also is that the more we see women represented who are doing these things, the easier it is for generations coming to do that. So if a woman, for example, has never seen another woman that looks like her, a Black woman from Africa, doing certain things in certain spaces, and all they see are men doing that, they might assume that, this space is not for us as women. Women are supposed to be on this other side. So I think that's part of what's going on, is that women are catching up. We have some ways to go. We are on the right track. We need to keep talking about it. And lastly, women learn differently. So when you coach a woman or you teach a woman a new skill, she needs that community to continue to encourage her. We're different in that way. Women do very well with community. So the more we get communities that support us, to say, okay, you've learned these skills now. You can go for a masterclass on how to use tech, but that's where it can end. You can go home and say, that was a great class. Wow, tech is the future. But that's where it ends. For women, we always need that ability and that, we need that encouragement to say, you can do it. Go on, what have you tried? What next? When you get stuck, we have a community you can go to and say, this is what I'm struggling with. Somebody else will put up her hand and say, I've been there. Let me guide you. So I think those are some of the things that we need to continue to encourage.
Yeah, we need to encourage one another. And yet when you started that conversation, you said it is part of our conditioning. And I want us to talk extensively about this conditioning, to say that when we are raising our male children and our female children, we raise them differently. Of course, a boy child, 18 or 19-year-old boy comes home and says, I have a party with my friends and we're going out around 10. And the parents say, okay, just ensure that you're safe and come back early, that kind of a thing. The girl cannot do that. And that's part of where the conditioning starts. I want you to talk about this because I want to believe we have parents in the house to say that, see, I have found myself here. I am learning to use technology. Our children, we give back to them in technology, it sees their own reality. So there's a tendency that it is easier for them to get some of those things easily than we as parents. And so here I want us to talk about this conditioning thing, to say that, I want you to talk about it, say that to guide parents. I want to believe we also have men in the room to guide parents in seeing that there's no need we box women to girls to a particular career or a particular skill or role, and boys, we say the boys that will champion it. For example, this technology thing. I have a niece who is so interested in coding and all these things. And I look at her, it's not as if she saw it. It's not as if any family member is doing it. But studying her, I just saw that all these things, they are inside all of us. So in conditioning, they just box some of this up and open us to some of those things. So I want you to talk about how this conditioning has affected us and how we have to be careful not to pass it down to our children. Then we move on to the real talk of the day. Thank you very much, Yeti.
Yeah, good questions. And we're all what's what I'm looking for, products of our environment, our upbringing, all the labels that we got labeled as a child at home, in school, and it's going to take a while to undo all of that. However, I believe that one of the things that we must continuously do is be willing to unlearn, right? And that's where intentional parenting comes from, is, okay, am I willing to unlearn some of the things that are part of my DNA, in my toolkit, as my suitcase that I've brought into adulthood, brought into mothering, brought into being a father? Am I willing to actually go deep and ask questions that say, is this serving me? Is this serving my children? Is this preparing them for the future that is unknown, not the past that we knew? The past that we knew is gone. The future that's coming is unknown. So that means that by default, the things that we need to prepare to be successful in the future are very different. And anybody who's in the digital age needs to start from that perspective, is that what we need to succeed in today's day and age is very different from what we needed to succeed in the past. And for parents, when you hear things like that, sometimes they can either be fearful or say, what do you mean? Are you saying that the way I was raised is bad? Are you saying that? Once again, we're not trying to create a divide or struggle. All we're saying is, do you agree or you don't agree that the world we are in now, because we're in the digital age, is different from the world you grew up in? If we can just agree. So maybe people want to put in the chat, do you or do you not agree that the world we are in now and the future we're preparing our children for We have never seen it before. It's very different. And by default, that means that not everything that used to work will work going forward. Is that a yes or a no? I'm seeing quite a few people saying, I agree, I agree. Fantastic. So because we know it is different, when I have some parents who push back, and I'm going to bring a little bit of a practical example here, who say, you know, all these things that you are saying, but the way they raised me, I turned out fine. Why do I have to be different? Why do I have to change my parenting style? I remember one day when I used a particular example for a particular father, and I asked him, I said, if your child came home today, forget whether it's a boy or a girl, and tells you they want to go and study oil and gas today, are you going to, what will your response be? And interestingly, the father said, oil and gas is not what it used to be, that I would prefer my child maybe study something in the tech space or study something around alternative energy, right? Because a lot of people are moving away from pure petroleum, the way, you know, we used to, you know, what we used to rely on when we talked about oil and gas. And I said, okay, so if your child wants to spend a lot of money and go and study masters in oil and gas, by the way, there are some universities that have taken that out of their program because oil and gas is just not what it used to be. There's a lot of move towards alternative energy, climate change. So are you not willing to look at a school that is ready to prepare your child for the future based on the jobs that exist today and will exist in 5, 10, 15 years? They said yes. I said exactly. You know, sometimes for you to change somebody's mindset, you need to bring something else, right? That's not about that topic that they feel a bit resistant to talk about it. So the truth is that the world has absolutely changed. And the key thing is acceptance that the world has changed. It is not good or bad. I always tell people that it's not good or bad. You know, when the steam engine started, you know, when television first came, people thought, oh my God, the world is over. When radio came out, when the cars came out, and I'm somebody who likes going into the history of when innovation came so that we can see that innovation will always come. We feel that we've seen it all now. Nobody expected ChatGPT when it came out in November to take over the world. You know, the number of people that have signed up for ChatGPT, I think 1 million people in 5 days or something crazy like that, compared to how long it took people, for example, to sign up for Facebook. So things are very fast because it's the digital age. And I think it's important that we all take that away, is that the world is different. Now, because it is different, does not mean that as parents, we abdicate our position and we say that because we don't know what is coming, does that mean I don't know, I can't be a parent again? Does that mean my values don't count? Does that mean that the way I was raised was all bad? That is not what we're saying. What we are saying is that we have a role as a gardener, as a nurturer, to position our children to be ready. Not also these children that are in a world that's fast, that's now, that's techie, that's advanced, that's changing so quickly. You know, your child cannot be good enough for Lagos or Nigeria anymore. Your child must be good enough for the world because their teammates are going to be from different parts of the world. So when you have that as your heart, as an intentional parent in the digital age, the struggle will not be about what are you talking about, but accepting that because things are different in the technology world that we live in, my parenting has to prepare my child for the future that is coming, not what I hope will be.
I love where you ended it. That it's not by hope.
Hope is not a strategy.
Hope is not a strategy. This is the reality, and we need to, just like Yeti said, be willing to unlearn. Let's ask questions. Like my mentor principal will always say, in fact, let those children teach you. Absolutely. Let them teach you some of those things. Don't feel you are the mommy or the daddy, and so you are the lion of the tribe of Judah, and so nobody, because you want to condemn them, that's why you will resist whatever it is they are doing and they want to teach you. So please be willing to unlearn, be willing to learn, ask questions, ask yourself, this method that I'm using, is it empowering? Is it going to prepare them? Is it going to help them in the world that we're in now? We need to succeed. So Yeti said something, said what we needed to succeed in today's world is different from what we were using to succeed in where we're coming from. So the trajectory has changed. The formula has changed. The mission remains the same, but the method has changed. You want to raise your children, you want to raise wholesome children and all, but the method has changed and we need to pay attention to it. And that's what we're talking about. So guys, our realities are different. I'll try and ask questions, but please feel free to drop your questions in the chat box. Yeah, Christina said yes. So next generation of grandparents will be tech savvy. Amazing. Yeah. That's true. They are not. They said the illiterate of this generation is not somebody that cannot read or write.
Absolutely.
That's not the definition for illiteracy in this generation. You should be able to operate your mobiles and be techie. That's when we'll say you are an illiterate. And with the cash policy and the scarcity that we went through the past 3-4 weeks, a lot of people now had to learn how to do transfer, how to do all those things. In fact, I was having an interaction with a bank lady and she was like, oh, they were begging us to have app on our phones. But later, people now flooded them. That most of those people we see in the bank this day, they want to install the bank app on their phones, and that's why they are flooding. You see, that's our reality now, and we need to face it. We need to face it. And they were saying something like, so we're not going to have cash flowing like it used to. Even though they said they're allowing us to use the old notes, but we're not going to have cash flowing like it used to. And so we're still going to start operating on the e-banking thing. So this is our reality. And this is why we are calling our attention that women should not lag behind. We should pay attention to what is happening and be willing to learn. That was what Yeti said. So I have a question here. How do we ensure that we monitor what our children do online? What can we do to monitor what our children do online? Yeah.
So those are one of, actually, this is the first place I'm announcing this publicly. I've recently, this week got approved. I just set up a new business or company, and it's called Digital Savvy Parenting. What I have seen is majority of my clients, parents, the biggest struggle they have is around digital, screen time, monitoring my children, online safety. But the most parents come from a place of fear because they don't know. We were not raised on social media streets. We were not raised using social media. We were not raised using technology. We were not raised in a world where, when somebody's interested in you and they want to date you, your friends are going to know because this boy is going to come and talk to you at a party or something, and people are going to see you, he's going to ask you for a phone number. When your phone rings in your house, your mother and father will see you in the public space, in the parlor, using the phone. Ask you, who are you talking to? Who's always phoning? When they call, they have a chance to pick it up sometimes and say, hello, what's your name? Toby, really? Who do you want to talk to? You want to talk to Funke? There's that. Nowadays, our children, all of this is happening behind the screen. You have some parents who will tell you, oh, there's no way my child is going to start dating till they're in university. Hello, mom and dad, your child is already dating right from their phone as young as 10 years old because you don't even see them. You don't know. Right? So for me, the focus has really moved from just online safety to raising responsible digital citizens. We cannot only focus on safety, and not move to saying, all right, what does it mean? Somebody's
admin, can you please check? Thank you. Admin, can you please check?
I know fit. I know fit. The whole day you just go. Not say the answer will come.
Okay.
Okay.
No worries. So I was saying that, when it comes to raising our children today, we cannot lead by fear. Fear is, what are they doing online? You're always on that thing. That is what causes a lot of tension in homes. What we want to focus on, and my goal going forward, is really to focus on, can we meet that person? Yeah, is to move towards a family digital well-being plan, is to move towards responsible digital citizenship. And that means before your child gets a phone, there's a process to go through. When your child starts using a phone, tablet, laptop, there's a process and conversations to continuously have. So to answer that question specifically, how can you monitor your child online? Let me answer you two ways. One is, you can monitor to some extent. Your monitoring will never be perfect. It will never be 100%. These children are so tech savvy that they know what to delete. They know that mom is going to maybe check I remember when my son was 5, he's 13 now. He was 5 years old. And I said, in fact, let me look at your laptop, or let me see what website have you been going to, or something like that. I think because school had them doing research online, 5 or 6. And he said, Mom, but I can, sorry, it wasn't 5, it was 7. And he said, Mom, but I can delete my history, or I can use incognito. 7. So if you're a parent that the only thing you're focusing on is monitoring, guess what? You are not teaching that child the ability to use digital for good. So I'm really more aware that the better outcomes that I'm seeing is when a parent thinks about it as a holistic picture of raising a child to be responsible digital citizen, a family having a digital well-being plan. If you don't have a plan, you need to create one. Remember I said earlier, hope is not a strategy. And too many parents are hoping for the best when it comes to this screen time business. We can't hope, we have to guide them. So that's how I'll answer that question. Monitoring alone is not effective. You need a relationship, you need a plan, and you need to look at it as a curriculum. The same way we have family vision, mission, this digital business, this digital literacy, it needs to be a curriculum that the parent is running for their family.
Amazing. It's actually scary what you just said now. And I love the fact that you are saying to solve our problem of fear and trying to sneak their phone and telling them to submit their phone, it is better we choose to raise responsible digital savvy children. That's so on point, and I love it, guys, so that you can have peace of mind. Why not raise them to be responsible, where you don't have to run around to check or see what they're doing when you're not there? That gives you peace than wanting to be on their neck, and that's where conflict starts from. One more question sent to me in my direct box before we now talk about the opportunities that we have in the digital space for women. This person said, as parents, because we are allowing them to engage with tech, they are being addicted to these devices. So talking about addiction to the devices now. I'm sure that's one of the reasons why some women will not even buy anything for their children until they are out of secondary school. And these children are sneaking and using them outside, and the parents are not aware, right? So this addiction of a thing,
And it's back to what I was saying about how honestly majority of questions nowadays from parents is no more around, oh, my child does not greet my neighbor nicely. They don't know how to kneel down. They don't know how to wash plates. That's not what we're talking about anymore. Majority of the issues is around screen time. And these children are resisting parents who are coming from a perspective of judgment, fear, criticism, doubt. You show up and the first thing you imagine is that your child is doing the wrong thing. A child who continuously feels that mom and dad are always thinking that they're doing something bad online is going to live up to that one day. That, Shebi, you think I'm always doing something bad, so let me let me show you that I'm doing something bad. Whereas sometimes that's not it, you know. So I think it's really important when we talk about addiction, it's back to having that family well-being plan. Before you give your child a device, what are the rules you have set around it? Do you even know how many hours a child should be online per day? So it's a whole process. You know, children under the age of 24 months, for example, the recommendation is that they have 0 screen time at all. So 24 months and under, that's the recommendation, no screen time. If you are going to be using screens at that age, the suggestion or the recommendation is that you use it with them, and maybe it's like video call where they are talking to grandma or somebody online that is interacting with them. Now, as the children get older, the time they spend online, by the way, all screen time is not created the same. So let me say that again, all screen time is not created the same. It's like food. If your child eats chocolate every day, there will be problems. If even your child eats only rice every day, there will be problems because that child will not develop properly. Screen time is the same. A child who's online learning something, actually learning and engaging with the content they are seeing, is very different from a child who's online passively watching junk, right? Online. You know, it's the short form content online that's very bad for children's developing minds. Short form content is essentially what a lot of our children watch on TikTok. All those short videos, they don't take much engagement. They're not really learning anything. Before you blink, the video has finished. It's a few seconds or, you know, less than a minute. It goes on to the next one. Is that short form content that's causing a lot of problems, and children are unable to concentrate anymore. All those short form content, all the likes they get online is releasing dopamine into the children's body. So they want more and more and more, and that's what's leading to addiction. Unfortunately, once the children become addicted, it's very difficult to pull them back. So how do you avoid them getting addicted? It's not about avoiding it. If your child is 16, for example, and you're fooling yourself that I haven't bought this for my child, so my child is not using it, probably is not true. They probably have access to online somehow, right? They don't even need to have TikTok on their phone to watch TikTok content on YouTube. Did we know that? Your children can go to YouTube and watch the same TikTok videos you are trying to keep them away from on TikTok. So addiction is a real problem. We are seeing more and more of it. What can you do as a parent? Before they get devices, make sure you have the rules in place. Make sure you educate your child. Make sure you know that your child is mature enough to get the device. If they are not, wait. After you have given the children devices, then becomes a whole different conversation. How old are they? How much time are they spending online? How do they feel when they get off screen time? That's when you start to know if they're addicted or not. And then part 3 is, if they are now addicted, what do you do? That's where many times you need to work with a professional to actually wean your child off the screen time addiction.
It's a lot. I think we will have to bring you back, Yeti, to talk about this. It's a big deal, and I think we'll have to bring you back so that you talk about this digital savvy parenting course, or is it projects that you're on, and to talk about, because it's a major one. We need to educate ourselves before we go into it, because we are not in it yet, because a lot of things, just like you said, ChatGPT came in November and it is flooded already. In fact, somebody sent something to me yesterday, how to make money from ChatGPT. I was like, okay, are we making money already? And content creators now, you know, choose it. And I just wonder what's happening. There was a day my daughter was doing an assignment. She's in the uni and she was chatting. She typed a question in ChatGPT and the thing generated. I said, you're not researching. This is not how to study, you know? And she was like, Mommy, who have time for all these things that you people are doing? And I was like, I wish the lecturers know what's happening, you know? And these are the realities. We are entering into it gradually.
It's not gradually.
It's not with full force now, right? We are deep in it, and many more will come up.
Will come out, absolutely.
And so we need to understand. So here now we want to talk about We are women. We are celebrating International Women's Day. And I don't want any woman to end today without making a decision to do or to go into what she has not been doing. Talking about technology and innovation. I told somebody today, I said, when do you want to put content out for people to read? Instead of you reading and watching other people's content, don't you think you can say, some people are gifted to do it? I said, no, we are limitless. You have everything that you need. So that is one of the mindset that people are. Some people are the ones gifted to do it. Some people had to do it. And Yeti is already telling us now that we are in an era, a new dispensation where technology and innovation is everything that will be operating it. So Yeti, I want you to talk about the opportunities, just to encourage the women on the call, the opportunities that are lurking in technology. And you don't have to be an engineer. In those days, we'll go to computer center to learn. Who have the time to teach you computer now? You have to sit and navigate yourself around it to get it. What are the things we need to do as mothers? And you're just saying it, our children, the things they are exposed to, how can we catch up? We need to know how to do all those things so that by the time your children are pulling their stunts, they meet you there, kind of a thing. So I need you to talk about that. Thank you.
Absolutely. I think, so there are a couple of things. There's, after I picked the children up from school today, my daughter was like, I should drop her brother at home. It's International Women's Day. Me and her were going out to just hang out alone, right? And I was like, okay, where do you want to go? So we drove around a little bit. And for people like, and I was reminding her about how much work women have put in place to fight, to allow our children today to have opportunities that didn't exist before. In fact, I'm reading a book that I just picked up, and the book is, the title is a bit funny. It says 100 Nasty Women in History. But she's using that word nasty as a play on words. Basically, it's showing women from history who pushed the envelope, who went against the grain, who said, even though you say I cannot do this because it's a male-dominated industry, because now we have female doctors, nobody will blink if a lady says she wants to be a doctor. But some of these examples in the book, back in the day, when someone went to study medicine, it was like, you want to study medicine as a woman, how? Mathematicians that wanted to, people that were really gifted mathematicians, because they were women, they couldn't. One particular example I saw in the book that I read said that this particular woman, she was such a gifted mathematician, she wanted to become a professor. And they said the only way they would let her be a professor was if she agreed to teach for free, that they cannot pay her because she's a woman. So we have come a long way. And I think I want to keep repeating that so that we don't celebrate this one day. International Women's Day is one day a year. And for the rest of the year, we don't talk about being our best, right? So I think, first of all, let's acknowledge that we've come very far. Secondly, I think it's very important as women to not try to do everything that you end up doing nothing. Let's not try to say, because I can do it all, you try to do it all, and then you end up doing nothing, because at the end of the day, we still only have 24 hours a day. We have other demands on our lives, depending on the role that you're playing. So you have to be intentional about how you spend your time. What I prefer to focus on is, as a woman, what do you want? What are you trying to achieve? When you know what you're trying to achieve, then you will typically see where technology can play a part in that. And there is no industry today where technology doesn't play a part. So as every woman on this call, if that's the one thing you take away, is that no matter your industry, even fashion, whatever the industry is, making hair, I want to call the so-called typical women's roles, right? Mothering, being a mother, technology plays a part. I've taught my children how to use Google Calendar. So when they have an event in school, I tell them, go and put it in my calendar. because I'm a busy mother. And if it's in my calendar, it's easier for me not to forget. So I think when we embrace the fact that these things are just tools to help me in every area of my life, you reduce the amygdala hijack, which says, oh, technology is not for me. I cannot use it. Once you start hyperventilating that you cannot, guess what? You will not. But if you change it to say, you know what, it is here as a tool to help me. You don't have to know how to design a car. You don't have to know how the petrol enters your car, gets into your engine, moves your car. But nobody's going to tell me that because you don't understand how a car works, you are going to decide that you want to walk from Ikeja to Lekki because you don't know how the car works. You are going to get into a car to get there faster. And I like using analogies because it breaks it down. It makes it less of a big thing. So there are so many opportunities in tech, and maybe we can take some specific examples. I'm yet to see the industry that technology does not play a part in terms of time management, in terms of, collaborating, in terms of virtual networking, which is a huge space that people are leaving on the table. Virtual networking, maybe that's another conversation for another day. How do you virtually network in a way that builds your brand, builds your business? There's so many opportunities. So women have to stop seeing tech as a wall. It's not a block. It doesn't resist women. It doesn't resist anybody. Tech is just a tool. And when we learn how to use it and embrace it, and we become more innovative in our thinking, it is then easier to use these tools to our advantage.
We need to learn to make these tools. So Yeti said it is just a tool. It is not a wall. Don't have amygdala hijack, like she said. It's just shut down and you just be like, oh, I can imagine. So we don't need to be in that space. There's so many opportunities, she said, and that's virtual networking. We're going to talk about that to discuss. So you said we should not try to do anything and we end up doing nothing.
No, we shouldn't try to do everything and then end up doing nothing.
Yes, and end up doing nothing. Who are you and what are you trying to achieve? In everything, there's a place where technology plays a role, even in parenting your children. And so don't shut down, open up and listen. Okay, so I have a question here. Somebody said, do we need to be techie to use technology?
No. Do you need to be an engineer to drive a car?
Okay.
No. You don't need to be techie. It's back to these labels. What does it mean to be techie? What does that mean? The person that asked that question, can you tell me what it means to be techie? We somehow.
So what does it mean to be techie? It's just the word techie, savvy.
And exactly. What does it mean? What's techie? Techie is not coding. You don't need to know how to code one line of code to make millions from technology. So let's remove all those labels. There's nothing like techie. There's nothing like, did you study computer science? I'm more techie than my husband that studied computer science. I studied economics. If anybody would tell me I'll be the one in the tech space, I'll say, yeah, from where? So there's no label. You don't have to be techie to use technology.
You don't have to be techie to use technology. It's not a big deal. It's just a tool. You can do it easily and freely. Yeah, I can imagine, when Snapchat, up to now, I don't know how to use it. I'm just learning to use TikTok, and I have to do all these things because my daughter would even make jest of me. So I have to sit up to learn all those things so that she does not make jest of me, So we need to learn to use all those things as women. Don't let's limit ourselves. I wrote something on my Instagram today. I said the future is women, and that's just the truth. Go into any meeting, you will see that you have more women in the meetings. So can we start equipping ourselves instead of competing and fighting and looking for that equality? Can we equip ourselves? Can we prepare ourselves so that when we show up, they know that In your office, when you show up, they know that she knows her onion, she understands it well. Even in the church, in any community we find ourselves, can we add more value? Can we learn? And these are the things we're talking about when we say equality. When you're ready, nobody will. Okonjo well, and nobody can say no to her. When she's being recommended and there were a lot of drama around it, all the searching and checking that they did, they just discovered that this woman tops it all. There's nothing you can do about that, and we all have that ability. It's in us. Whatever it is that has shut you up, whatever it is that you have gone through that has made you see yourself to be less of who you are, can you snap out of it? And when I say snap, can you embrace healing? Can you seek for help and talk about it? Because you are a mother does not mean you are not that person. I tell my clients that, all these women that after they have given birth and they say they are married, they just forget about who they are. And I try to take them back to that girl that was competing to be the head girl in primary school, that girl that's struggled and want to be on this prefect list. It is because you know that you have an essence. It's because you know you are more than enough. That was why you did that. You struggled and you tried to ensure that you pass WAEC so that you can get into the university. You enter the university, you want to have a 2-1 or a first class. It is because of who you are. And you now get married, you just forget about all those things. No. Life can be lived simultaneously. Fine, you cannot balance it, but it can be lived, you can harmonize it, and there are ways to it. So, and this is part of the things that the Center for Sex Education stands for. We talk about a lot of all those things so that women, human beings generally, you can embrace your essence and be who you are created to be. The future is female. And we are just getting started. Do you want to be one of those that will transform the world? Like Christina said, the grandparents of that generation are going to be tech savvy. Do you want to be part of those people, or you want to be left behind? No woman should be left behind anymore. And we should not complain. Let's work on ourselves. Let's improve ourselves. Let's add more values so that wherever you go, you add values there. And people want to interact with you. We're not saying you should be there. If it's possible, you can be the Ibukwa Woshika, Lakija. It's possible. You can be all those people. We are all endowed. The good book I read says everything we need for life and godliness has been given to us. So let us, on this International Women's Day, if you're not taking anything away, take the fact that you are more than enough and you have a lot inside of you. The reality of this present world is technology, and we need to also move as the cloud is moving. Let us move with the cloud. Thank you, Yeti. Thank you so much. I really appreciate gisting and interacting with you on this platform. And thank you so much, everyone that joined today. While I ask Yeti to give us the last word and we are trying to round up, I want to say that at the Center for Sex Education and Family Life, like I said when I was introducing us, we go out to schools to celebrate with children, to teach children how to stay safe, how to protect themselves from sex predators and all. And this month, fortunately, is also the month when we celebrate Children's Day. Please, admin, I want you to get ready to drop the office phone number for as many that want to support us for the Children's Day celebration. We want to go out to 3 public schools to distribute sanitary towels to the girls. Please support us in this in this project. Support us on this project as we reach out to about 200 girls in public secondary schools. Thank you very much, Yeti. Do we have any question? I know some people were chatting me, sending questions to me. and I've responded to that. Let me see what we have. Thank you. Oh, guys, you didn't change your name. So everybody is just saying Gayin Laifa. Thank you so much for this person that said, well done, ladies. We celebrate, honor, and appreciate you as an asset to our world. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We also have, thank you so much, Ma'am Yeti Williams and everyone. I celebrate you. Thank you for this webinar. We need to awaken the real human in us. Absolutely. We are saviors, we are rescuers, we are endowed with so much strength. Thank you for looking out for other women. I honor you. I celebrate you. Thank you so much. A very engaging and enlightening session. Thank you, Yeti. Thank you so much, Yeti. I really appreciate it. Yes, the admin has dropped the phone number. Please, ladies, support us, join us on this course. And we're going to acknowledge you. We do that every year. We want to reach out to girls. And if it is Dangote products, the Indomie or whatever you have access to, please reach out to us and support us to do this year. Thank you very much. Yeti, your last words.
Yes, so thank you for having me today. You know, we're celebrating International Women's Day, but I think it's important to keep in mind that nothing stops us from living our fullest lives at all. As women, we don't have to ask for permission. We don't have to wait for somebody to give us a seat on the table, as they'll say, create your own space. But all of that starts with, I really believe in starting with your mindset. Because if your mindset is one that, oh, it's for some people, I can't achieve that, it's very difficult to break through that limitation. So it's important that we work on that. And of course, as we've talked about, technology can support every single thing you want to do in your life. There's nothing you're doing that technology doesn't play a part of it. And we don't have to be techie to use technology. I'm an example of that. There was nothing techie about my background until I started what I started with Lagos Moms. And I've seen firsthand the power that technology has. The brands I've worked with globally, it's all been possible because of technology. So you can make impact right from home without leaving your home. So let's not leave that opportunity on the table for other people to do. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you so much. And with this, we come to the end of the celebration. Happy International Women's Day. Please shout out to one another. Shout out to one another. Thank you, Yeti. Thank you so much. Shout out to one another. And admin, can we have, I will stand by your side. I go there by your side. Can we have that song play as we round up today? Thank you so much, Yeti. Thank you, everyone. Everybody is saying girl. Oh God, I really wish I can call the names. Obasa Elizabeth, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Happy International Women's Day. I wish I can call everybody's name. Everybody is saying Thank you. Thank you, guys. All right. Thank you so much. And have a beautiful rest of the evening. Please watch out. We're going to send a mail very soon. And we're going to have Yeti once again. Thank you. Bye. Thank you, Kudi. Thank you, Erica from Cameroon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Thank you, Yesterday. Thank you so much. Oh, this is beautiful. Thank you, Yesterday. This is so, so beautiful. Thank you, Oluwayomi, for joining. Thank you, Christina. I will see you at the end of the month for the family meeting show. It's going to be an amazing and interesting one. Please watch out for our mails as we prepare for the family meeting at the end of the month. Have a beautiful rest of the evening. Bye.